Welcome.
Hello and welcome to OzLoL Podcast episode 99. My name's Carrot Colossus, and this week we're going to be talking about the International Wildcard All-Star Invitational thing, and we're also going to be talking about patch 5.17. And we've got three fantastic gentlemen to help us with that. We've got Victor. Oh, his microphone is off or something.
Hi guys.
There we go, yay. For a second there I panicked and thought something happened to the stream.
The vodka.
There you got the vodka. We've got Steve back, returning after 3 weeks away.
I've missed you guys.
Yeah.
Not just you guys that I'm talking to, but the listeners as well.
And I'm sure if I check the email, I'll find all the emails saying, "Where's Steve?" No, I'm just joking.
I check the email regularly.
Yeah.
Actually, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
In
No one
fact,
emails
I
us.
got this. In fact, we got this one email that said, "Hey guys, love the changes to the new lineup. Good luck to Steve and whatever the hell it is he's doing."
Also joining us again this week is Wombat, aka Luke.
G'day guys, great to be here.
Wombat, aka Luke, not Luke, aka Wombat. I like that.
Oh yeah, either way.
Come on.
I just looked at the Twitter handle that I put underneath his thing on the stream, so
And you're also joined by Stephen, what is it? Clerical Stephen Gasternera.
Yeah, that's it. All right. We are part of the Trinity Force Network, so you make sure you check out our website, Trinity Force Podcast, well, the overall website, trinityforcepodcast.com. From there, you'll find all 4 of our shows now. There is a brand new show, if you weren't aware. So there's the Trinity Force proper, of course, the T-Force LCS Rundown, the 4 Wars podcast, which is about getting better at the game for new players in particular. And, of course, and there's new is the Hearth of the Cards, which is a Hearthstone podcast. They've just put out their 2nd episode, so you should check that out if you're into that game, which a lot of League people are. So, yeah.
I believe that most pro player streamers took to that game whilst waiting in queue, so they didn't have to like turn their streams off or go AFK or stream illegal YouTube videos that they didn't have distribution rights for or whatever. So
that's because Diamond 1 higher have 15-minute queue waits.
Oh yeah, and the rest. Yeah, I think solo queue here in Australia, like the wait times are like 40 minutes or something.
And if you can play if you can play during draft, then you've got anyone can fit a game in. Sure.
Well, that's the thing. Like, just to go like into completely sort of into serious thing, but like when you think about it, like the actual time you spend doing the drafting section is like 15 minutes or something, really, in the end. So like you actually, even if you only just started one, you probably finish a game by then. So anyway,
It's the only thing I even enjoy about League of Legends these days is the old draft phase. Like, oh, look what he's picking.
good to see you still got a semblance of passion.
I want it there. I don't actually care. Like, I don't care that much for it. Like, I hate playing blind pick.
I love the draft phase. It's like my favorite. It's always
you and Steve orgasm over it all the time, but I'm just like meh, whatever.
It's alright, just pick Leona Ashe. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, get in the game, and then, oh wait, who am I versing? Oh wait, I should have, oh no, my runes are so wrong.
Yeah. Like,
You're alt-tabbed playing Hearthstone.
That's it.
That should be episode 2. Or episode 3. Don't alt-tab during champ select to play Hearthstone.
Well, like sometimes I'll select my champion, then I'll just walk off, and what happens is there's no noise when the game, like you get pushed back into the queue, like when the game, if somebody doesn't select. So basically, like the next time I hear that, I need to enter champ select, like I just hear the sound of it, like asking you to accept, and I'm like, damn it! So I'm just gonna like run from the other side of the house to go and press accept. Anyway, this is a little big sidetrack.
Sometimes I swear.
Yeah.
Sometimes I swear my queue accepts itself, because I'll start a queue and then I'll just do something in another tab, and then I'll be like, damn, this queue's taking a long time.
Yeah.
And I'll open up League of Legends and I'm in. It's like 3 seconds to pick a champion.
Yeah.
I think your multiple personalities might be alt-tabbing as well. You'll be doing something and then Jack will take over.
Yeah. Tyler Durden has accepted.
Back. Victor comes out of a trap. Oh, my game on a spot.
The first rule about Draft Club is don't talk about Draft Club.
Don't talk about Draft Club. I think you have named the episode.
Yeah,
We're
Draft
only a
Club.
couple of
There you
minutes
go.
in.
Good. All right. Draft
The
Club
first rule of
done.
Draft Club is you don't talk about Draft Club.
Oh my god. Oh boy.
All right, done. Now we, Victor, you wanted to plug something for our good friend Modbro, friend of the
Yes,
show,
Of
Modbro.
course. Mr. Modbro has asked me specifically, because he's doing it under the Gecko Pix Gaming umbrella. He's doing a fun little Rito point giveaway. If you want some cool little Rito points, you want to win some Rito points, I have a few of them here. There's a 25 and a 10 in a money clip, because that's how baller I am.
Make it rain.
Yeah, definitely. The first thing I suggest you do is go check out the @GeckoPix Gaming Twitter account. Modbro is in control of that at the moment, and he's tweeted out all the information. Basically, you got to, play some games. If you've come across a cool play, you gotta get it to us somehow. Now you're probably asking yourself, "But Victor, we've been waiting for a recording system since season 2." Fear not, children. There's a place on the interwebs you can go to known as plays.tv, and this is a nice little third-party program that will record while you're playing, won't use up too much of your computer hardware, whatever, so you're not going to be like dropping 20 billion frames while you're recording, and then it'll save to your computer. You can also save it to the website, which is pretty cool, and it also records your perspective of the game. So like a lot of recorders will just it'll do this weird thing where you gotta open it up in the game and then you're in the spectator, and that's all kind of weird and whatever. This one just records the game, and there's also ways to find your, like, this is where we got the quadra kill, or this is where we got the Baron. And conveniently, I actually listened to this episode on the Trinity Force proper today. Dennis Fong, who actually owns Plays.tv and was supposedly the first pro player ever for gaming. He was a Quake player or something, and he is also Thresh is also named after this dude, which is pretty cool. So he was on the proper, so definitely go check out episode, I think it's 2 something. What is it? It's 291. It's 291.
291.
It's 291. Dennis Fong interview, so definitely check that out. He talks all about this cool little thing. And anyway, yeah, so make some cool plays, send it into Modbro. First place, I will give you 25 Rito points.
Yeah, wow. You can get
a tenth of award.
Yeah.
You can have some little $25 of Rito points. I also bought a 10 for a second place, and I think Modbro bought a 10 as well. So there's plenty of garbage to be won. And now Mr. Stephen Garstone wants to talk about NT Esports.
We're up to that bit already.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. No, I've been off the show for a little while, partially due to health reasons or being too busy and everything like that. I've been ridiculously busy helping Scrub Phoenix organize the NT Esports Open Night. Now that's all done and dusted, but the league is about to start for the upcoming season, and I'll be the division manager for that, but I'll also be one of the shoutcasters, and that's going to be an 8-week league that is going to be at a local venue in Darwin called the Italian Club. You guys can Google that. So if any of the listeners out there are not aware of the NT Esports and you're interested in pro gaming, especially League of Legends, come on down. We'll be open. The doors will open at 5:30 on Friday. So it's going to be great. I've been working with a lot of the teams quite closely, and the open night was a massive success. So there's going to be a ton of people down there. So
and
also,
ahead, like NT Esports on Facebook, Scrub Phoenix posts there at least 6 times a day. My phone is going off with NT Esports on Facebook, and I know you all have Facebook.
I'm going to see if he's posted since he's calling me right now.
His ears are burning.
That is crazy.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
That's a phone call. I'll have to return in about an hour.
Yeah.
All right.
So we should probably get onto some discussion. So if you weren't aware, there's the All-Star Invitational, which is essentially they had a mid-year event, the end of year. So this is after Worlds in November. They're having an All-Star event for basically where they have teams made up of players from all the different regions, so like a mix of each region. So hang on, sorry. Yeah, it is. Anyway,
essentially the best of the five
the best
players from a region.
Yeah. I'm trying to, like, because they had the mid-seasonal one, and I'm, like, trying not to get confused myself.
That's not entirely true. It's the most popular five players for each specific role.
Not necessarily
one from each role, exactly, so...
Yeah. If you wanted the best, we'd just send Chiefs again.
Yeah. So it's basically they have a voting thing for all the different regions will have a vote. And there's actually an international wildcard event to send a team to that the All-Star event, wherever it is. I think it's, I don't know, it's not Europe, somewhere. I don't know if they've said yet. So basically, starting September 21, you had to vote for your top, your favorite players from all the OPL teams. And then there's actually going to be a live event in November. Oh. Yes, sorry, the actual qualifier, the international wildcard qualifier, is actually going to be held in Melbourne. So you'll actually be able to go. I don't know actually if there's any tickets left. When do the tickets go open?
The tickets for the IWCA were made available from 11 a.m. yesterday.
Yeah, okay. So good chance that all the tickets are already gone, but maybe not. Anyway, on the between the 26th of November and the 29th, there will be teams from all the international wildcard regions. So Brazil, Latin America, Southeast Asia, Japan, I'm about to say Center for Independent Studies. That's a think tank from the Central Independent States one, Russia basically. And Turkey, of course. So yeah, let's talk top 5 players from OCE. What would be your picks, Stephen Gusto?
Well, I was thinking about this a little bit, and like Chiefs are amazing. Like every single player from Chiefs is amazing individually and as a group, but Chiefs' real strength is their ability to play as a group. But I didn't want to just go, let's go all Chiefs. I have a special spot in my heart for T-Gun. I still think he is one of the best supports that the Oceanic region has by far, and I would love to see him playing with at least some of the members from Chiefs. So I've got it. I want to go Spook, Swipper, and Swiper for the top 3, and then King as ADC with T-Gun as support. Now, the reason I went that, one, because I want Australia to win. I really want the I really want a cohesive team going in, but I also want to, because Spooks is just has amazing synergy. Well, he has amazing synergy with the whole team, but with Swiper and Swiffer specifically, they just make shit happen. So I want those like any 2 of those 3 would be fantastic as long as Spooks was one of them. Because like he works really well with either one. But if you go just a singular top laner who's really, really skilled or whatever, then that, I don't know, top lane can become quite segregated from the rest of the team unless there's like practice teleport strategies or lane swap strategies going on. So I really want to keep that element present. But also I want to see how Chiefs would go with a very heavy roamer like T-Gun, playing the sort of champion style that he does, and King, who's an amazing mechanical player, really getting to showcase, but he's a bit solo queue, as he's been referred to previously. I would love to see him get up on his carry high horse and just go absolutely nuts. Meanwhile, T-Gun and Spooks are roaming around just making plays. That would be my lineup.
Okay. Victor, do you wanna? Yeah, who would be some of your picks?
Before I get into my picks, there are actually still plenty of tickets available.
Okay.
I think it's a pretty big arena because I have actually just bought a ticket. While Steve was talking, but my
That's
dream squad. Sorry, Steve.
I don't care.
My dream squad would be 4-0.
Alas, they don't qualify, friend.
Actually, what do the rules state? Let me have a look. I want to see if the rules say any like previous OPL player or anything like that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
sorry.
CNJ Riot. CNJ Riot.
Yes.
Rich gang all the way.
Rich gang.
One.
have to.
Rich homie Dre,
Yeah.
out of being banned, is back for the international wildcard qualifier.
Yeah.
No. Do you actually have any serious ones, or do you?
Yeah. Me, sorry, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, well, Victor, but...
Hang on. You think I'm not being serious?
Okay, fine. Wombat, who would be some of your picks?
Go, Vic. Oh, you know... Okay, alright.
He's serious with Fortnite.
He's leaving.
He's mic dropped. He's gone.
Fortnite, assuming they rehire me as their coach.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. There you go. I think I would go Swiper and Spooks from Chiefs. And then King E-Jim. So there we go. I got 3 Chiefs in there already. Oh, that's a bit. Is that how many? Is there a limit on the amount?
Well, you got to field a whole team, so one person per position.
No. Is there a limit on the amount from each team? Like
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think there is like we'll say 3. I don't think there's a specific rule though.
Right, because I feel like E-Jim King would be pretty terrifying, and
yeah,
I've heard Minky Whale talk about being scared of Swiper, so like, and then I'd want probably Rhymeister mid, and yeah, probably Spooks in the jungle, but I don't know. I don't focus on. I don't watch jungle as closely as the other lanes because I'm just my worst role. I don't. I don't know very well.
Just put the blinkers on. I don't even want to know.
Yeah, no, it's like,
I want the
like
real laning experience on my esports where I got no idea where the jungler is and could pop out at any time.
No, jungling's just too complicated, man. You gotta like, not focusing on CS. Oh no, that's too hard.
I actually get to probably pick the same as you for the bottom lane. I think Ray is good, but I think King can just mix things up a bit. Otherwise, I'd probably just say Chiefs because they are all the best. But
just vote for nothing but Chiefs players.
Yeah, nothing.
You know what? I would not be surprised if that ends up being the lineup. Like I'm not sure if there's restriction on number of players from one particular team, or they haven't really stated that.
I think you muted the mic.
Yeah, they haven't. But I mean, I think.
Can you hear me?
No, Victor, I think's muted his mic.
Oh, fucking Jesus Christ. I was going to say, Stephen, you know as well as I do that Minky Whale's going to go through.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually going to say that there's a good chance of Minky, because, people really dig him. Like, he's a cool dude, and he interacts with the community, and... Actually, the person I would expect to see at all 5 positions is Chippies from Direwolf, since that's his thing. He's actually what win.
I would love a curveball option in there to send Atlas in one of the roles.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that. Oh, you stole my joke.
So I think EGM is. I mean, I am quite partial to Deegan. Like, I think he is a great support, but I think EGM kind of actually has more of the style that I enjoy. Like, he loves playing Alistair, he loves playing sort of hard engaged type support, so I dig that.
And he's been in like every Australian finals for the last how many years?
Yeah, no, maybe not the first one. That was versus Heaven's team, NV. I don't know if he was on that team. Okay. But anyway,
I don't think about that far back.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of what game you. I'm gonna have to go back and research
the games. The final that was at PAX the first time round. After the 600 team.
Oh, yeah.
Open ladder.
No, NV got eliminated in the semifinals, I'm pretty sure.
Really? I thought it was NV versus Chiefs in the final. Or NV versus Immunity, sorry. Because that's what they were at that stage.
Yeah, they're Immunity back then.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, though, no, he's back and he's on support. So, that's probably not a bad option as well. I mean, Swiffer, I think, is the best, but Rhymaster, just, again, to mix it up. I think Rhymaster's pretty great, though. He's still relatively fresh, so it's like he hasn't been around for that long.
But he 1v1 kills Swiffer in lane.
Yeah, like he's good, but I guess it's like, I mean, Swiffer's been around being like really good for a long time, where Rhymaster might just drop off. But anyway, I think I'd say Rhymaster, probably Carbon or Chelby in the jungle. Probably Chelby, because he can get nice and aggressive. And top lane, I think it will actually be Minky Whale.
Do you think it's just gonna happen?
I think it, yeah,
Well,
just because people really dig him.
Well, that would be a fun. That sounds like a very fun team to watch. Like, I don't know if that's our best foot
Yeah.
forward, but I would enjoy watching that team.
I think Sharp is probably one of the better top laners, along with obviously Swiper.
I'm actually surprised the name Wally Taka hasn't been brought up.
Tallywhacker.
Yeah. Well, no, he's changed his
Yeah.
name to Wally Taka.
Oh, is he? Okay, well,
Yeah.
Ollie Thwacker, I think.
Wally, yeah, it's
Wally-
it's weird because it's basically just a spoonerism, but because of how the English language works, it changes the pronunciation
Yeah.
drastically. So it's like, how do I say that damn name again? And it's watching the casters like a tally. You know, just like
Yeah.
take that momentary hesitation because I feel that pain. Like I cast games myself. You know, just yeah.
I would just keep calling him Tallywhacker, seeing as he's obviously doing it deliberately.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think those would probably be my picks, just to have a nice mix across the board. But yeah, I mean Swiffer I think is a pretty popular player as well, so I imagine he is likely to be the mid player.
I think there's a little bit of hype behind Destiny
As support.
on Twitter for some reason. There's a little bit
Okay.
of hype behind him.
Okay, fair
That's
enough.
just that. That was the whole comment. I don't know
Right.
what else you were expecting of me.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I guess so. It's the 9th today, so not next Monday, the Monday after is when voting opens. So I guess we'll find out. Cool. All right. Well, let's talk about what's next on the thing. All right, relegations. So voting opens the day after relegations finish. So September 18 to 20 is the relegations for the OPL. Games start at 6 p.m. The games are Absolute versus Alter Ego, Immunity versus Krispy Kreme Crew, and Sudden Fear versus Legacy Genesis. Yeah.
Will Immunity have its proper roster back together finally?
No, I don't think J.K. Smithy and Claire are available, man. You could probably get Zahu and Uber, bro, if I ask her really nicely.
Yeah.
You mean are we gonna have a full-time jungler and a full-time AD carry and yes, we're actually gonna have our complete roster for a change.
That's gonna be good.
So the roster for us is going in will be Ryu in the top lane, Soul Strikes in the jungle, Frey in the mid lane, Zenk as the AD carry, and everybody's favorite support, T-Gun.
Cool.
It's sad that they're playing against the Krispy Kreme crew. I mean, the Ku Klux Klan, because it's like obviously we want Immunity to win because Steve, but like who doesn't want the KKK in the OPL?
The KKC.
KKC.
Oh, sorry.
We have expressed in the pre-show how you spelled clam.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Legacy Genesis get in because like they beat Legacy in that Legacy thing we
Legacy versus Legacy Genesis and
Yeah.
Genesis. That was a brilliant
Genesis
series.
thrashed them.
I
So I
gotta
reckon they got a pretty good chance against Sudden Fear.
Yeah,
do they-
Sudden Fear have had some ups and downs, and I think they're not feeling the most confident going into this game. And everybody's been talking about Legacy Genesis just being a real contender for the upcoming season. Like they're not even talking about relegations. They're like, when Legacy Genesis get in, they're gonna do really well. Like it's already conversations like that. So
Are they gonna have to change their name?
I
I think
They
that's
imagine they have to
yes,
change.
yes.
Yeah, they probably will. They have to change ownership as well because I imagine the OPL is run on the same rules as the LCS,
Well,
which is
it will
So, right,
depend because if Legacy are an esports organization that own Legacy Genesis and they own Legacy, then that will be a problem. But if, say, person A owns Legacy Genesis and person B owns Legacy, then it's not technically the same owner, even if they're acting as sister teams. I don't know. That'll be a competitive ruling issue that Riot will... They've probably already come to a decision and just haven't declared anything because it's not come up yet. So I'm
But
sure they'll
even,
just
like-
let us know.
Even if it's like your sponsor name, they have to change. They have to change sponsors. They can't have.
Or they'll probably just go to the name Genesis. I mean, it's not a bad name on its own either.
Yeah.
Especially if you're an 80s prog rock band from England.
Or a Bible enthusiast.
Or, yeah, right.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
I'm gonna I'm gonna start a team and call it Exodus, and I'm gonna follow Genesis.
Yes!
And then we're gonna get another squad called Leviticus,
Yeah,
and they're
Leviticus.
gonna come in as well.
Yeah, that's it.
I
And I can't wait for the team called Deuteronomy. That's gonna work well on a bumper sticker.
I like
numbers and
I
acts
find
don't
this-
make it through really.
Yeah.
How good's everyone's Bible knowledge? I'm pretty
I
impressed.
find
Everyone's
this funny
Bible knowledge.
because carrots are you Catholic, Carrot?
I'm a Christian. Yeah,
You're a
well, not a
Christian.
Catholic.
Yeah,
Christian.
and like I've done a lot of Bible study, so like we know like all
Yeah.
the passages and everything.
Yeah.
And I imagine listeners are like, what the fuck is a Leviticus?
Yeah,
That's
Leviticus
the one
is
where
like
women
nine
get
fellas.
stoned.
yeah.
answer to that
It starts to get a bit weird
question
when you got first and second Kings and they're two different teams. Then first and second Samuel. Anyway,
What would
That'd
be
be
good
funny.
if they drafted King?
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that would be good.
And they
Especially if
start-
they went into the Bible and changed the I to a 1, like actually on the page. That'd be,
I'm gonna
That would be
force.
awesome.
I'm gonna
The-
force our mid laner. I'm gonna force our mid laner to rename himself to Elijah.
yeah.
No, I've just got like the cover. It says the like KYNG, the King James Bible.
Yeah. That's
That's
it.
anyway.
All right, let's
it's-
actually talk about something that's actually meaningful to
Welcome
League
to
of
the
Legends.
OzLoL podcast.
Yeah,
number one
yeah.
source for religious studies and worship.
I mean, I was going to say that it would be a bit of a shame if Sudden Fear get knocked out by Legacy Genesis, just because, I think they've made actual progress. Like they've actually improved over their time in the OPL. So it'd be kind of a shame to see them get knocked out because, I guess the last two splits I've been keen to see where they go with what they've learned, or with what they've done. So but that's the way it works. That's the way the mop flops.
I imagine that Sudden Fear would most even if they didn't get through, if they stuck together as a team and kept scrimming in preparation for the next season. They might have a few roster swaps, and a loss like that can be incredibly crushing to morale. So we might see like a split or anything like that. But I really do like Sudden Fear as a team, not just as a spectator, but as a manager. I get to deal with Sudden Fear quite often. So no, I really do hope that if Legacy Genesis do knock them out, and that's the way that most people are expecting it to go, I do hope that they stick together, because they've got even if they don't qualify again now, they've got a very good chance in the following season.
Yeah, I guess it's interesting to see how many teams that are coming into the OPL are made up of teams that have made up of players who've already been kind of in prominent teams. So you look at Sin Gaming, Rosie, obviously the big one, but Kadra, Trashboat, they've both been around forever. Juves, and Legacy Genesis has got Impaired and Claire, who are both have been kind of lurking around the scene. So a lot of these teams, Sudden Fear, there's nothing to really stop Sudden Fear continuing on and those players continuing on, because they can sort of come back into it. And
and there's a very good reason for it, and it's because in the Oceanic scene, finding people that are dedicated enough to the solo queue game that they're making it into Challenger, or at least very close to Challenger. They need to be that sort of skill level to play at this level, but then they also need to have the sort of personality that gels with the team, and then they need to make the commitment to, okay, we're going to be scrimming every night, okay, we're going to be playing in these particular times, we may get in, we may not. It's a big commitment for any team, even amateur teams, even ranked teams. I have been in the situation, and I know plenty of people who have, just having trouble getting all of their ranked team online for a game, so having regular scrims with people that you may not know or may not gel with, and you have to iron out the kinks and stuff, is a huge commitment. So that's why you see players cropping up again and again, is because a player might have left a team due to a personality conflict, or they might have left because their university exams. Yeah, exactly. They got into a particular university, or they've got a job that requires time, and now they no longer need that time for whatever reason, and they're wanting to come back, but their team, or the team that they were on, has disbanded, or they've got a full roster they don't want to change, or they left on bad terms or whatever. So these. Someone has their volume up loud.
So,
Yeah, so you'll see those players come back in. So I really do hope Sudden Fear, like, because Sudden Fear have been practicing a lot. I don't want to spoiler alert, but and I hope they really let Legacy Genesis go. It's most likely going to be Genesis. Is the general feel I'm getting. Immunity versus Krispy Kreme crew. I'm feeling very confident with Immunity. They've been working very, very hard. I know I haven't really heard much about Krispy Kreme crew because there's kind of a, well, we know we're fighting you in 3 weeks, so we don't screw each other. So, so I don't really want to comment on that one too much. Although I do think that we're going to win. I'm feeling pretty confident about that. I think Absolute versus Alter Ego is going to be the closest game. So that will be like, if you're not able to watch all these games when they come out, and you've got to watch one, that'll be the one that you'll be on the edge of your seat for, I imagine. Unless you're like a fan of a particular team, in which case you should definitely watch the Immunity game because you're obviously a fan of them. That's. What are your thoughts, Carrot?
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of hard to tell. Like, I mean, I think you're right on the Genesis call. Yeah, it's just hard to sort of tell with the challenger teams. I mean, yeah, Alter Ego, don't really know about them. Absolute didn't really kind of distinguish themselves much. So it's hard to sort of really know where they're standing. But I mean, yeah, Immunity, you definitely got a good chance. So, and of course, we want to see you guys win. So, because bias.
Bias.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm fine with that. Whatever it takes to get you support.
Yeah.
Welcome
As
to
long as you're not playing
OzLoL
Chiefs, I'm happy to
podcast,
support you.
Number one source of biblical studies, worship of immunity as well.
Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else anybody wants to add before we move on to patch 5.17? Okay, let's do it. Patch 5.17. We're starting off with Skarner. Now, yeah, so as you probably must have seen from last week's episode, I was right and Victor was wrong, and I just thought I'd highlight that again. Skarner's OP, and I think what they've done now is pretty smart. So essentially, rather than giving him flat bonuses from all his crystal spires, they are now scaling. So his bonus movement speed goes from 70 to 120, and then all these are between scale at sort of level 1 to 18, rather than sort of his ultimate or whatever.
I just want to interject here, Carrot, because you were right and Victor was wrong. Well, I just want to say that I was even more right, because I said I was going to wait for hundreds of thousands of results, and he had the highest win rate during that entire thing. So the hundreds of thousands of people demonstrated just how much data was required to see how OP this guy was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I made the right call. I said that was going to be really good. So there we go.
Look,
I don't know if you
the bonus attack speed scales from 43 to 160. They've also nerfed his maximum mana restore from 3% to 2%. And they've it's Twisted Tree Line, but anyway, they've moved position of the jungle spires and Twisted Tree Lines so that their zones no longer overlap, which, if you think about it, is pretty friggin' mental to have overlapping zones on a small map.
That would be like if Trundle's W, Frozen Domain, covered the entire map every time he used it.
That'd be so sick. All right. I mean, I think this is all pretty sensible. Like, I'm not surprised this is the route they took. Like, when I started to hear about how good Skarner was, I thought this is the way they're going to go, because it preserves what's unique about where they've taken him, but just makes it easier to manage. Yeah. Anybody else have any comment about Skarner?
Just wanted to say the main thing. Go for it, Wombat.
He has been pretty much permanent banned in solo queue, and even still after these changes, is still getting banned quite heavily.
The reason I think he's really strong, and this is sort of the reason why I thought was going to be the best thing that Skarner got in the rework, is now he has a super reliable stun that also gives him huge benefits when he procs it on them, and so he can get... He's gotten a reliable stun, which he's never had before. He's had to stack it up previously, and before that, he got a slow every second Q or something silly like that. So now he's got reliable CC before he's got to use his ultimate.
Absolutely. Azir. So Azir, they've nerfed his movement speed to 3/10 from 335 to 325, and they've nerfed his Q by reducing the additional damage taken for being hit by multiple soldiers. I think this is eminently sensible. Seeing videos where people lose half their health because a fed Azir just absolutely smashes someone is kind of gross, and yeah, that this pretty much puts that one out to pasture.
Yep, and it makes sense when compared with like Lulu's Qs and
Yep.
lots of other things. If you get hit by more than one, it doesn't deal stacking damage. So I think it's good.
Yeah, and he was dealing too much poke and burst for someone who's supposed to be about his consistent damage in a team fight. So that should tone it down quite a bit, and also make him a little bit more vulnerable around the mid-game stages with the movement speed nerf.
Bard. He has had the cost of his W reduced to 90 mana at all ranks instead of 100 to 120. And the 2-second reduction, 2-second buff to his E, his magical journey across the board. So, yeah, at max rank it's now 14 seconds instead of 16 seconds. It's Bard. I'm low level solo queue, so I never see him, so I never think about him. I'm sure there's probably higher level solo queue players who are probably quite happy with this.
I'm sure we could have many a hour-long discussion about Bard, but he's still not getting played.
Well, I think he gets played it in like Challenger and Diamond and stuff, and like he had like a crazy win rate as well to begin with. So, but I mean, I think they're just better equipped to use him than low level solo queue. So it's
You really got to know what you're doing, and you got to plan everything a step ahead. Like some people are like, oh, you wouldn't just roam with him and leave your AD carry by yourself. That's stupid, and Bards keep doing. I'm like, well, you shouldn't do that. Like under any circumstance, you shouldn't do that. Like it's normally, oh, the AD carry's gone back. I have free time. I'm gonna go roam, and I have a kit that supports me roaming through XP and mana and movement speed every time I pick up a chime.
And I think that's more or less how it's actually played out. Like I think it's surprisingly team focused. Like he's like the way he's played from what I can tell is certainly from the OPL is like there isn't a whole lot of roaming all the time. It's just periodic roaming, but then using the mobility from his E to and the utility from his ultimate. Like I think that's kind of the main strengths in his kit for sort of high level players.
All right, I played Bard. Like he's. I don't think his Q gets enough credit for how strong it is because it's a really long stun and it's not impossible to hit. It's actually relatively easy to hit one target and then anything that's behind it will land the stun with the potential of stunning 2 people. And like when I played this champion, I was able to stay in the map for just a really long time because you have infinite mana sustain and you've got a little healing shrine you can keep putting down and lots of mobility. You get around a lot. He's not a champion that needs to spend hours in base just shopping or whatever because everything's in his kit and there's not like numbers he needs to buff. He just needs his utility. I don't know. We could talk about him forever, but
yeah. Darius, he's now his W. There's a few changes, but the main thing is his W now refunds costs, and half of its cooldown when you kill somebody with it. That's his slow. So yeah, they're buffing a guy who, from what I can tell from reading Reddit, is already pretty darn OP, because he heals like a friggin' maniac. So
518 has planned nerfs for all of the juggernauts again. From what I can tell, crippling strikes, little mana cost and cooldown refund is to help him when he gets pushed under the tower.
That makes sense.
So he can farm a little easier.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's actually probably pretty, and there's a good trade off in that even if you clear the wave, you're probably going to hit your mana pretty hard. So yeah, that's smart.
The one thing you kind of glossed over because it is just a bug fix is that Q's decimate. I think they kind of say it's a bug fix, but I think it was deliberate until they put it into live, because on PBE you used to be able to do this. You can now use summoner spells while you're winding up your Q, So as you're starting
okay.
to swing, you can flash into the middle of the enemy team on like, and I've done this before. It's not that hard. Flash into the team with a Q winding up on like 300 HP, hit everyone with the blade, and then you get all your life back. And they also changed his Q so that you only need to hit 2 people to get the max heal instead of the 3, because it's 15% of missing health per hit. So you can flash in on low health, get a big chunk and then get a big chunk of it back, and then keep fighting.
Yeah.
Whereas you couldn't do that before because you'd wind it and you couldn't flash.
Okay.
And so so the best you could do was flash.
Seems pretty like a pretty
wind.
like. Obviously, you can do it, but it seems pretty dumb to flash into a team to get healing when you're low. Like, anyway, that's just me.
You can get 30% of your life back. You're a super tank. That's I don't know. That's like if you start a fight and then you've backed out of the fight and then you've gone in again because your Q's back. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, or even if you're 70% health, you flash in, land your Q on everyone, then you're back up to full health.
That's burning anyway. I guess people do it. It doesn't
doesn't
seem like a particularly well. See, flashing in so you're able to ultimate, that makes sense. But flashing in just so you can land your Q seems pretty dumb.
you land your Q, you get the health, you can keep fighting, and then probably drop your ultimate a bunch of times.
Yeah, maybe.
Look, Mr. Support Player, go back to your Leona, okay?
Shut up. Whatever. Hey man, I know how to use Flash properly, even as a support player. If anything, I play Alistair and I play Annie, so I know all about using Flash.
You know how to use flashes. Look at this guy. This is Carrot. We're kicking you off the show. He doesn't even realize the importance of Flash on a support.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. On the playmaking role.
Did you guys have like in-game experience I'm not aware of that is kind of background for this back and
No.
forth?
Not really.
Okay, just thought there might be some bad blood there. I wasn't sure.
No. Draven. So Draven's now even more flashy than he was. Upon reaching 150 stacks, he notifies his team. What? Upon reaching 150, notifies Draven's team every 100 stacks. That's not even a proper sentence. Like, there's no.
When he gets 150 stacks, it pops up in the chat. Hey guys, Draven's got 150 stacks.
Right.
And then
Okay.
every 150 stacks. Every 100 after that, it notifies them again.
That's what I thought, but like it just they just haven't finished the sentence. Anyway,
Then it also notifies him whenever he cashes in on at least 150 stacks.
Yeah,
That's cool.
That's pretty cool. And even you get 2 bonus stacks of adoration if you kill 6 minions in a row without dropping a spinning axe. Like
that should be at the top of the patch notes. Like, what is it? We're making some changes. Also, Draven got this.
Yeah.
Check the champion section for more details. 2 bonus stacks of adoration if he kills 6 minions in a row without dropping a spinning axe. This is whack-a-mole Draven just amplified, because not only do you get bonus stacks on top of what you previously would have gotten, but now you can brag to your team without typing anything.
And that's awesome. Like, that's what makes these changes so great.
Bitches. I don't drop axes.
I'll say one thing. Like, if I notify my team at 150 stacks, that means I didn't get an early fucking kill, and now I'm just waiting 10 years to stack up and cash these goddamn things in. Which, if you don't get an early lead on Draven, can take the entire goddamn game.
Just like a 37-minute has reached 150 stacks.
Yeah.
Draven has reached 1,050 stacks.
I mean, I think this sort of thing, like, I guess, like, the hidden is a nice characterful thing that they've put in. Like, they took out all those hidden passives, and they've taken a few things out that kind of added a little bit of that character to the game. And this sort of thing just brings it back in, and it's like a bit like the special interactions. Like, it's great to see this sort of stuff, and hopefully they'll have more of these sorts of things. Because I guess the bonus stacks of adoration if you kill 6 minions like that is actually a meaningful game thing. But the other two are just straight up there because they can, and that's cool. Fizz. So Fizz has had the AP ratio on his Q buff from 0.3 to 0.35. His W now gives him a little less on hit damage, but a little bit more AP ratio. So it's now 30 damage on hit at max rank instead of 50. And the AP ratio is now 0.3 instead of 0.25, and he no longer amplifies his physical damage with his ultimate.
I'm so glad they made that change.
Does that just delete AD Fizz from the game?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah,
Pretty
well, that's
much.
what brought him in the first place. It was basically, you'd like when they made the change so that it did count your AD, and they made another change to another item that made that really good. It was like all of a sudden, AD Fizz top lane all the time, ridiculous win rates, and oh man, don't get me wrong, I like seeing Fizz in the game, but I don't like seeing Fizz overpowered. Which is what he was for quite some time. They altered a few things on him to get him back in line at that time, and now he still just kind of pops up like randomly in the jungle and stuff. But I do miss the AP Fizz, you know, like the Lichbane style, bursty type of character. That's the Fizz that I like, because when you can build a tanky Fizz, all of a sudden his maneuverability becomes less valuable or less exciting to watch. It's like, okay, so he's using his little troll pole to get in there and clear minion waves. He's not using it because he needs to survive. It means that, like, the further they get away from this whole tanky bruiser style Fizz and more back to the very squishy Fizz, is the more suspenseful and exciting it is to watch Fizz play. And that's, that's what
but not fun to be on the receiving end of it. That's the thing. Like, AP Bursty Mage, where a guy comes out of, you know, pretty much out of nowhere, hits you with his shark, you can't move, he dives you, and then blows you up practically in one hit, and then walks away. Like, that's not fun.
No, that's a balance issue. That's a balance issue.
I think that's okay, because if you do land some CC on him in the middle of his little combo, because he's now this squishy AP burster, that's all he is. You just kill him as soon as you land any CC. So he has to play those dancing abilities and, you know, buy Zhonya's. And
it's not about it's not about his complete burst 100 to 0, because that's not entertaining. Like, it can be exciting at the moment, but I agree with you 100% there, Carrot. But I'm talking about his frailty in combination with his maneuverability, making it exciting to watch really good Fizz players. Yeah, that was my point. I wasn't like...
I'm going to call Tank Fizz what it was. A goddamn exploit. It felt like a fucking exploit in my games, where this dude would come out, he'd build a Trinity Force, and then he'd have Frozen Heart, and then bloody Warmogs, and whatever other tank items he got in. He'd jump into our entire team, and then just go prong, 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 prong.
It was not thematic at all.
And regardless of how hard we tried to kill this fucker, he always walked away with a kill.
Yeah.
You mad, bro?
Always walked away with a kill. We dogpiled him, and like he's just sitting there and he's just going prong, 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 prong.
Yeah.
It's like Jax, but with temporary invulnerability on top of it.
Yeah, well, and an escape, like a really effective escape. One of the best escapes in the game. Like, it's a mobile Zhonya's, if you will. Like, it's incredibly effective. You don't need that on a tanky champion, and it's excessive to have that on a tanky champion. Like, when you watch it, like, tanky champions, like, think of Mundo, and you're popping his ultimate for the duration of the sort of halfway point of the fight. It's like Mundo's going to live through that from his passive regen and the movement speed, so that if he would die, he's able to maneuver in the team fight to a point that he's not while still doing his job as a tank, you know, like, whereas Fizz, he like, whatever, you know, deeps, damage, jump all over the place. Yeah. Prong. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think Riot's been working hard to fix the theme of each champion, you know, make them play like they look, you know. Mordekaiser, that's one that they've been talking about for a while. He was this bursty, squishy AP mage, and now but he's this big dude in armor, you know, and now he actually is a scary, big, tanky dude, like he looks, you know.
Yeah.
The problem with I hate to say, like, it's kind of like Fizz is just really stressful to play against. So it's like, thematically, when he's built AP and he's jumping around and he's dashing through people and he's hitting someone with his giant shark, thematically that's what he was supposed to be. And so when he's coming in these games and he's doing that to me, like, yeah, I'm really angry, but that's what he's supposed to be, and it's hard for me to be super angry when that's what he's supposed to be.
I just want to interject here. It's never hard for you to be super angry.
I get really freaking angry at Fizz.
I think that basically summarized the Fizz patch notes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Vic should have a list of like all the champions that he hates.
Yeah.
Or maybe a shorter list would be of the ones you don't hate.
Let's see. I don't hate Tarek. And I don't hate Gangplank, who is one of my Master of 5 champions.
That was a nice segue.
Yeah, speaking of Gangplank.
Yeah, so the delay between casts increased by 2.25 seconds, and the armor penetration is reduced from 60 to 50%. So, a little change, but...
It's still a huge amount of armor penetration.
Yeah.
Which they have plans to nerf again, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I actually saw a very well executed Gangplank Yasuo comp with just armor shred for days. It was like Wukong jumped in there, Gangplank just, it's just madness. It's like, oh, what's that? You've got a frozen heart and a sunfire cape? It doesn't matter.
I saw a snippet of a video where like a Gangplank had like linked all the kegs like all across the jungle, so just like one shot like hit all the jungle camps. It's pretty funny.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I saw that. That was in the TLDR patch notes.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
They're talking about his barrels.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, Garen has had his move speed reduced, so from 345 to 340. The bonus move speed on his Q has been reduced from 35 to 30. His passive on his W now stacks twice as fast on alternate maps, so I guess Twisted Tree Line and all that sort of stuff.
The rest of these maps don't matter.
Yeah, no, these maps do not matter. And then it's just some tooltip stuff, some other things. So yeah, again, small things. He's a lot tankier than he used to be. He does a lot more damage, so it's probably not a bad thing to nerf his move speed. Yeah.
I think we're gonna have problems with. I was sort of theorizing this in the shower. I said as long as Garen's really quick, which he has to be to get in there, he's running in there. We're always gonna have problems with him as long as he silences on the first hit for a second and a half or whatever he does, because he gets in there and then once you're silenced, you can't flash, you can't dash, you can't pop any ability and run away from him. You're stuck in that spin for 1.5 seconds, and he's got enough damage behind him that's all he needs to get you low enough for the Demacian Justice, especially if you're the villain. However, as players, we just gotta stop letting Garen get so goddamn close to us, because I've played against plenty of people, particularly Lucians, who are villains, and I could not catch up to them, but I would eventually manage to get up to them with tricky plays from a Yomu's Ghostblade and Flash when it was up. But I think the silence is really the big problem with Garen, and if we want to balance him, I think the silence has to go.
Yeah, see, I mean, I don't think that's the case. I mean, he's got the same issues that Udyr has, which is they have to run at you, and there's lots of things that stop you from doing that in the game.
And you can't force your enemy team to pick Blitzcrank.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's Udyr's and Garen's biggest problem.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it is a problem when he gets there, but it's not that hard. I mean, obviously, in like a blind pick situation, it'd be a pain.
Well, if it wasn't that hard, he wouldn't be nerfed. He would not have been nerfed.
He is pretty broken.
Yeah.
He's got like 55.
And
well, I mean, but taking away the silence is a whole other thing, though. Like, I mean, like, sure, make him, like, I have no problem with making him maybe even slower, but, like, I think the silence... Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be there, I guess. Like, there's nothing in his character that says, like, in his sort of fluff that really dictates that he must cause silence on his Q, but...
You guys know the video A Twist of Fate. You know, it starts off with Twisted Fate juggling cards, and then he fights... what's his name? Fiddlesticks. And then it kind of goes on, and then it segues into Garen versus Katarina.
Yeah.
What that fight would like? The fight's really cool, like gigantic sword swinging, and she's jumping through portals and shunpoing everywhere. It's a really cool fight to watch. But if it was according to the game mechanics, it'd basically be her like just walking backwards and forwards between minions, getting a bit of harass him, then jumping back, and then her ulting, and then him silencing her.
Yeah.
That's what that fight would actually be.
Yeah. I mean, it is powerful. It does actually, his silence does probably mean that there's probably a few matchups he does okay in, like, Renekins or Ribbons, like people who rely on cooldowns. If he loses that...
If you remove the silence, you'd have to give him back power somewhere else because silences are really strong.
Yeah.
Like, if you're silenced, you can't do anything.
Yep.
You may as well be stunned.
Yeah. So, I mean, each of the juggernauts are meant to, like, totally wreck you once they get to you there. That's the whole point. So, I think reducing the slow is a good way of making him what he's meant to be, which is this hulking dude that can't get to you. But if he does, you're in trouble. Like, once he gets to you, you're meant to be in a lot of strife. So...
All right, so Gragas...
I like the silence.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting and good. So, all right. We've got 5 minutes left. So, Gragas, his W has now 8% max health damage at all ranks instead of between 8 and 12%. So, there's a pretty substantial nerf on his damage, but probably not a terrible idea.
It's going to change his his pathing options really. So, like, because W was just so good, like 1 point and it gets you 8%, and then at max rank gives you 12%. That's
a lot of damage.
Great. So 4% of their maximum health damage removed from that ability at max rank is going to mean a huge deal.
Yep.
You will probably more than likely be maxing your E second instead of Drunken Rage now, though. So you might have a bit more burst damage earlier in the game if you're doing it.
Because his damage started at 8%. Oh, you mean because of the skill change? Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, because you're not getting much scaling out of Drunken Rage now, so I figure you'd max E second and you'd have more burst during the mid game, and then later in the game when you don't have as much of a percentage damage, you start to feel a bit weaker.
Jana, her Q minimum range has been nerfed. Hang on. Yeah, it's been nerfed. So
it's
now it goes
worded
850.
very strangely, yeah.
Yeah. And the bonus range while charging is slightly more. So basically, it goes further, even further the longer you charge it. So that's yep, okay. And Monsoon, the AP ratio has been reduced from 0.18 to 0.15 across 3 seconds. So yeah, small things, but
the Q was very noticeable. I was playing a few.
Yeah. I don't know, actually. Bonus range while charging.
It'll be similar. But it is pretty noticeable because a lot of Jannas will just go QQ just to get it straight away for the CC. And the Monsoon is an ARAM nerf.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a huge thing.
No. The champion that won't build AP because she's got to prioritize support items. Whatever will we do about her ratios?
Yeah, exactly. The Counter-Strike cost on Jax's E has been reduced by 20 at rank 1, and then it scales up by 10. So,
it's the same cost at max rank.
Yeah, same cost at max rank.
But significantly cheaper in early levels.
Yep.
Yeah. But all he wants to do is hit minions with his lamppost and buy a Trinity Force.
Yeah.
That's in the patch notes. It's a great description of him.
It's not a huge buff, but in the early game, like that 20 mana could be you dying and you blocking an auto attack.
It just really means that you're going to be less worried about using Counter-Strike because it's less of a commitment of your mana.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly like he's hugely mana dependent to begin with, so I guess all these things make him much like
a lot of the issue, like that sort of idea is true because of the way people play him. Like basically, if they increased Karthus's Q by 5, then people would cast fewer lay wastes. He still wouldn't have mana issues, but it would still affect his power. So the argument is the opposite here. So by reducing it, you're encouraged to use it more, essentially.
Callista, the passive on her, the cooldown on her passive for W has been increased from 6 to 10, and the passive damage has been nerfed at early ranks, so it's now 10% instead of 12%, but it's the same at 5, which is 20. And the cooldown on Fate's Call has been substantially increased in early ranks, so it goes from 90 to 120.
30 seconds.
Yeah, and then from 75 to 90.
Remember when we said Gregus's W was really strong because at max rank it's 12%? She had that at level 1.
Yeah. Sorry. Keep yawning, I don't know why.
Typical carrot. And if you had 2 ranged champions in the bot lane,
yeah.
it's not hard to
No, it's not. It's nasty. So, but, you know, I mean, I guess it's
what is Karma's W the chain ability, or
it's
is
the
it
chain? It's the root.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just looking at the patch notes going, focused resolve. I don't know which ability that is.
Well, it's focus. Well, so it's focus means. I don't say it'd be mantraed focus resolve. Yeah. Okay.
That's the one that heals her.
Yeah.
12 seconds at all ranks makes it even more of a 1-point wonder than it already was.
Yeah.
And that
It's
was her
interesting.
former max cooldown.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're going to rename that ability because almost everybody's abilities have some sort of like you hear the word and you're like, oh yeah, that's his R, you know, that's his big Dunkmaster Darius move or whatever. But yeah, that one's pretty vague.
It's funny how you didn't even know the name of Darius's ultimate, which has also slipped my mind.
We just talked about it, didn't we? No, he didn't change his R. Yeah.
Noxian Guillotine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so you hear that and you go, yeah, that's his ult.
Oh, yeah.
I was about to say Cold and Meek, but I'm like, no, that's Renekton. That's his Q.
Wow, Carrot, come on.
Yeah, I know. Well, we're actually done. We're actually finished. We got to an hour, so we'll have to finish these patch notes next week.
Tune in next week for Lux.
Yeah, for Lux. And like heaps of... It's funny, they say at the start, oh, you know, this is a pretty light on patch, but there's actually quite a few changes here, so...
Yeah,
About
they're all
10
small
more
changes.
champions.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, I can't think of anything else that we need to mention this week before we finish, so...
Can I quickly mention one more
Yeah,
champion?
go for it.
Okay. Nocturne's R range has been restored.
I
to
know,
2,500
it's so good.
4,000. Yeah, so I fully expect a Nocturne return.
Yeah. Nocturne's so good.
A Noct return.
A Nocturne. Same it's not global like it used to be.
It
That
was
was
never global. It
hilarious.
always had a range on it, but
Did it? I thought it actually was global at one stage.
no, it was
Okay.
always it had a
More
limited range on it. Yeah, but it's closer to what it was when he was being played,
Yeah.
as opposed to they've.
I just
nerfed
recall
it,
him, like, when I first started playing, he had, like, a really big range.
Yeah, it was
And then they have to-
huge. It was
Yeah.
huge. You could go from like inhibitor turret to about halfway between the two normal turrets.
Yeah,
back
yeah.
then. It was a pretty like all you need to do is roam slightly out of lane and then ult to the next one.
Yeah.
You know, it was pretty nasty.
So sick. So good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Which is,
All right. We're done.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, it's just... What do you
Any
want to say?
closing words, Victor?
I was just going to say Zach's elastic slingshot at Wombat, please stop being a robot. I was just going to say Zach's elastic slingshot at max rank was almost bigger than Nocturne's first level R.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you had to sit in the tri-brush to jump out at somebody, which was just...
And you
kind
still
of
might
defeats-
not have been in range.
Yeah, and it just kind of defeats the purpose of having this big, scary ultimate that you basically get really, really super close to use. Anyway, all right, we're done. So we'll be back again next week with episode 100. We haven't actually figured out what we're going to do for it. Maybe just be a normal episode. Maybe not. We don't know. I guess it'll have to have some normality to it because we're going to finish these patch notes. So
That's just the crazy, spontaneous wackiness of the OzLoL podcast,
Yeah, I know.
home of biblical studies and
Yeah.
worship of immunity.
maybe we could actually do a Bible study. I'll prepare one up.
I'll get my Bible.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thanks for joining us. Not that he probably can hear us because he sounds like he's having internet issues, but thanks for joining us, Wombat. And we're going to be back again
Welcome!
next week.
That's exactly what he sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, I've been away for a couple of weeks, and
Bring it
it's
on,
good to be
Steve.
back, and I just want to say to everybody,
Could you guys
good
could you
evening,
guys
ladies
hear
and gentlemen.
Shut up,
Yes,
Wombat.
you just bombed me in the middle
Ah.
of my sign out. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.